Great, amazing, amazing. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening from Indian Standard Time. And whichever nationality you are, Sri Lanka, it will be good evening. For any other nationality, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. It's wonderful to have you all. Something that goes without saying is, this book club that we initiated has brought so many people together. And one of the reasons why people continue to come the urge, is the urge to learn more. Today, before I start, I want to thank a lot of people. First want to thank our keynote speaker, Aditya, for choosing our platform. Aditya happens to be one of our veteran members. Apart from that, people, those who continuously work in the background. When I talk about people, those who continuously work in the background, we have got our very own Toastmaster Paramjot Singh. We have Rahul Sharma. We have Gaurav. These people, they are relentlessly working to ensure that this show becomes a super hit. So great job. Thank you so much. I would also like to take this opportunity and thank this very special person, Samrit, who at the very last moment agreed. We needed somebody to become a timer. So thank you, Samrit, for taking up this role. So people, today we have something very exciting. We have been reading. This is our ninth season. And every time we go ahead and read a book. And today we are so glad that we have somebody who is an expert in reviewing a book. So be it anything, he is expert in reviewing. I'm sure we all must have that guilt whenever you watch that, whenever we do something which is called binge watching. How can you make binge watching productive? One of the great ways to make binge watching productive is by going ahead with a review. I would like to go ahead and share something that one of the gentlemen, I'm not sure if the Manu is here. So the Manu,
Hi.
hi, the Manu, you're there?
He's there, Abu.
Oh, great, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vimanu. So one of the things that I would like to share when it comes to review, and we are very glad and we are very thankful for Vimanu. He has given us such a full-on review on LinkedIn that after he has given that review, which went on WordPress, which also was there on LinkedIn, that post that we got a lot of people looking forward to joining our club. Now that's the power of review. Never underestimate a power of good review. And without any wasting any time, let me go ahead and invite our keynote speaker, Toastmaster author Aditya Sharma, who will go ahead and speak about his book. Ideally, he'll be launching his book and he will also help us how to become excellent reviewers. With thunderous applause, may I request Toastmaster Aditya Sharma to come and take the stage forward. Toastmaster Aditya Sharma, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abu, for this wonderful introduction, and thank you for giving me this opportunity on the Leaders and Readers Book Club to showcase my book, which is unusual, and it will be a great experience for you all because it's something that is we do, but that is not seen by everyone. So I'll just show you what this is about. So this is my book. It's Beyond the TV, 33 cinematic productions that transformed the silver screen. And I will explain what went behind the making of this book. So my first question to you all is, you can start by raising your hand that what is your definition of cinema? If anyone can tell me your experience of cinema. What do you mean when you say cinema? Anyone can raise the hand? Yes, Abu?
For me, cinema is entertainment.
All right. And what else? What do you think that cinema also is something between entertainment, education, and information?
Absolutely.
So can you give some examples where you feel that a piece of cinematic production, be it a TV show or a movie, gave not only entertainment but also gave you some kind of knowledge, education, information? Can anyone give any example?
I would say Tare Zameen Par, Amir Khan's movie Tare Zameen Par.
So what was that you liked about it? There were two main characters in that movie, and from what I understand is that the main character, the one played by Amir Khan, also had a similar issue with like he also had dyslexia, but he did not reveal it till the end. And then he was guiding that young protege. So that was what we saw in that movie. That how how that whatever he could not do as a young person, he was able to guide that person. That was it. Was this what you saw in that movie?
I think it was a play of emotions as well.
Yes.
There was a conflict right from the beginning,
Yes.
and that was resolved at the end.
Yes.
That's what I felt. It's a play of emotions, playing with the hearts of people, the audience, basically, and then moving them to convey a particular message.
So, DTM Jayakumar, can you give your example of what movie or TV show you saw and you learned from it? You had your entertainment from it. You can give some examples. What is your definition of cinema?
My definition of cinema, I normally watch cinema only for entertainment. There are a lot of avenues for information, for other pursuits. But for me, cinema is basically entertainment. So I consider it only from that extent. I don't watch a cinema to get depressed. I watch it to, come out, went out, have a good time, basically.
So I think your definition matches with my definition. Let's have a look. So if you look on the left, cinema has always been a source of inspiration for the masses, and they forget the monotony of life while watching a piece of art. How many of us agree on this definition?
Yes, you do.
This is what you were coming close to. And also, if you look at the second part, it takes us into an imaginary world, a world imagined by the creativity of the writer. So as you know, it involves a lot of creativity. There are so many things involved in making of a cinema, and therefore the film reviewer plays a very important part in this. So this is my question. How many in this room read movie reviews before seeing movies, and in what way does it affect you? If you have seen movie, maybe not in this duration, but let's say last year, over the past 2 years, or whenever you watch your last movie, did you read a movie review before going? Whether it was through online forum, through newspapers, or listening on the radio, or watching it through other platforms. How many in this room have read movie reviews before going to watch a movie?
Earlier, I never used to watch read the reviews. But of late, I have been reading the reviews so that I don't make a mistake of visiting a theater.
All right. Anyone else can give your experience of reading a movie review, and how does it change your mindset of watching or not watching that particular movie? Does it affect you?
Aditya, I'm a big time Salman Khan fan. However, considering I am a Salman Khan fan, I did not go to watch Dabangg 3 because the kind of reviews that I got.
So, should I, let's say that out of 22 people, should I say that all 22 get affected by the movie review? If the movie reviewer says the movie is not good enough to watch, will everyone not go? Please show me raise of hand.
So here, this is Himanyu Sahu. So Aditya, I think I read movie reviews just to have a glimpse of what is the plot is all about. But I never take my decision to go for a movie based on that review. I would definitely go for a review, definitely go for a movie if that is good. But I never depend on reviews.
All right, that is interesting. And now my second question is, this is something which we do it informally. So after watching a movie, let's say you have watched a movie and you want your friend to watch a movie. And let's say you have watched the movie alone, you want your friend to watch. So do you become a movie reviewer on your own? Do you tell him that this movie is good, go and watch it? The theme is good, the plot is entertaining, the CGI is excellent. Do you tell this to your friend? I'll be informally. Do you try and influence your friend also?
Yep. I once am a fan of Avengers movie, and when I saw the Avengers Endgame movie, I liked it so much, and also told my other friends that it does good theme music, and also the story is good. So it's a good movie. It's you cannot miss it, and it's a good story which lasts for some 2-3 hours, but still it's good to watch it. So I told to many of my friends, and they liked it.
Anyone else would like to join in who all become movie reviewers after watching a movie and they discuss it informally with their friends? Tell your friends or anyone, watch it, don't watch it, Anybody else?
I have a point. I have a point here to make. So there was a movie released, I guess last year, Joker,
Yes.
and one of my colleague watched that movie. Review to other colleague who sits just next to me that the movie is not good. So
Okay.
they both had a debate behind. I was not aware of that about that movie. That the rating, IMDb ratings are very good, but still that person was telling him that the movie is not good. And when I went back to that person who sits next to me and I forced him to watch that movie because we actually had a debate over it. You know, I
Okay.
don't
So
know if
even
that is
before watching
counted
the
as a
movie, you were influenced by a friend.
no. I watched the movie
But
and then I
you liked
influenced
it, your
other
friend
friend.
didn't like it.
Huh?
You liked the movie, but your friend didn't like it, right?
Yes, I liked the movie. My friend didn't like, and our third friend, a mutual friend, he was relying on us. We will give him a review. So he was, confused about both the reviews.
Were
One,
you able to convince your friend to watch it?
yeah, I was able to convince him.
What was
Both.
his interpretation after he watched it? Who did he agree with?
He agreed with me. He agreed with me, and that led to a debate and argument about the emotions and
That happens. Joker, a movie like Joker can be seen in so many interpretations.
yes.
Some see it as a dark thing. I have written a review. I'll share it with you in due course. I'll show that. I'll show that particular Joker review and also Avengers, which I think Vimanyu shared and someone else shared. So I'll show it. All right.
Okay.
But still, despite Twinkle and others reviewing the movie, there is still a special skill needed, because what do you reveal? What do you not reveal? What do you review? What do you see in that movie? What do you see beyond the characters? Do you see the story? Do you see the plot? Do you understand the theme? Now, film reviews, as we know why I'm in this profession of being a film critic, because film reviews are important for the viewers to discern whether to watch a piece of cinematic production or not. And as Abu already gave an example, that when he read the review of a certain movie, he decided not to go forward to watching it. It means that he was convinced by the movie review that it was not in that, he was convinced enough not to go. So this is how a movie reviewer can influence us to go or not to go. Vignesh, you have a point?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Please go ahead.
Oh yes. Even the critics, it also depends on them. We can get to know a lot whether they liked it or not. So based upon them, what they say, we also know that if we want to watch it or not. So they also play an important role in telling others whether it's good to watch or not.
It's 2015.
Right. Now I'll just give you a bit of this skill unit, because this is something that develops over time. For me, it was, I enjoyed watching movies, then I decided to write about them. And as I wrote more every day, every time I watched a movie or a TV show or any such thing, the more I wrote, the more I understood the movie, the more I got into the depth, it became easier for me to write. It comes over a period of time and it develops slowly. So, as I said, this is my style, is to go into the depth. I'll share it with you. Let's say that it is art and your science, as it involves your analytical and listening skills. You have to analyze the movie, you have to listen carefully, because when you come back and write it on your diary or on your computer, you have to recall each and every scene. So how good are you at recalling those aspects? What aspect of the movie did you like? That's very important. What Since it's a personal thing, it's personal for every reviewer. The movie review is a personal account of what they liked, what they did not like about the movie, yet they have to keep in mind an audience, because audience becomes very important in this context, because they're eventually influencing the audience to watch or not to watch. So how good they are in doing that and balancing the part of making it personal, that's very important. And it's science because a lot of research is involved. For example, if it's the movie Avengers, you have to know what happened from the first movie till the last movie. How did the entire narrative progress? What happened in each franchise from the first one to the standalone movies of, let's say, the main characters from Doctor Strange to Iron Man. Their standalone movies are equally important for us to understand that how did these characters grow? How did a bunch of independent characters with their own leaders in their mind, how did they come together? That was very important. How in the last part they eventually bid goodbye, not just as characters but as a franchise. So you could see those subtle things in the final movie that they were bidding goodbye to a few characters. It was visible. So this is how we have to understand. Yes, it was evident and it was visible, but how do you say it? How do you write that without without having spoilers? Now let me ask you, you must have read reviews in which the entire plot is revealed. How many of us think that if it plays a spoiler, if the plot is revealed, if everything is revealed in the movie review? You can give your experience, Emmanuel.
Yes, I feel it's a spoiler. At times, people do that in cinema hall as well. During interval, they tell you the name of the murderer. It's such a spoil
Yeah.
spot to do that.
Same as Abu. Same as Abu. Yep.
All right. So can you give some examples where your friend told you the entire plot before you went to watch a movie and you had so much excitement around it?
Yeah, so
worst-
there was a.
yeah, please go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so there was a movie with Amir Khan and Kareena Kapoor where Kareena Kapoor was a ghost. I don't remember the name. Talash. Yeah. So the whole plot lies on the concept that that Kareena Kapoor is a ghost. So, so everybody was in our boys' hostel. Everybody mentioned in the beginning, and they all just messaged on the WhatsApp group that Kareena Kapoor is a ghost. Don't watch the movie. So, like that was the whole concept. So we didn't go and watch that movie then.
That's interesting. So how did I come about? How did I gain my experience in getting these movie reviews across the viewers to make it more interesting? First, I had to watch a lot of different genres, historical, science fiction like Avengers, Arrow, all these science fiction movies, how they connect. Sometimes there are parts where movies connect. Sometimes they may be of they may be as different as chalk and cheese, but somewhere they connect. Like in my second, I have said that I have tried to compare films of the same genre and productions, though there is no connection sometimes. I'll give you examples. And I've kept the movie reviews very short, not too long. So you have to keep it at a concise length. Though in the starting, you may want to say a lot, but it's like
15
anybody
minutes
who's
are
been a part of Toastmasters will understand that. Somebody, there's 15 minutes up.
yes, 15
Okay.
minutes are up.
So let's compare it to Toastmasters. In Toastmasters, we have a time limit for a 5 to 7 minute speech. You have to say so much, but you have to concise it in 5 to 7 minutes so that you don't go over time. So it doesn't mean that you have to write 10,000 words. 500 words, if you're able to get the message through, works sometimes. So it's very important to know what are you going to reveal, what are you not going to reveal, how much are you going to go over the plot. Do you remember any other movie which is very similar to this? How do you bring the two cinematic productions together? How do you compare? How do you contrast? How do you bring it together? It's a skill which develops over a period of time. It's about spending time. You have to watch movies, you have to read books. For example, if there's Game of Thrones, you may have to read the original book to understand the characters in depth. In Lord of Rings, the books are as long as the movies, right? Anybody who has read the Game of Thrones book? Anyone? Nobody?
I have started reading that book. I've not completed the first part. Yes, I have read it to an extent, and there I
You
understand.
do understand how the characters come across, because as we understand that most of the time movies, TV shows, and such similar productions are adapted from books. If you read a Harry Potter book, then you can understand the movie. It may not exactly be a spoiler, but you do understand how Yes, let's take the example of Harry Potter. How the character grew, how the actor grew over a period of time. How he started in a school, his innocence, his being impulsive, and how after each movie, after each experience, the character grew, became more serious. How in the end, there's a different character. The relationships have changed, have become serious, have become more somber. So this is how you have to understand the growth of the character. If needed, if, for example, in 2010, the final movie came, but you can connect it to the first movie.
Yes.
Yes, and how his attitude towards his adopted parents changed, how he saw everything as something all, how he grew from an ordinary person to having a legacy. So this is how you explore the characters. So for now, this is my presentation, but we can take more questions. You can note down my details. This is my email ID. It's adityatherwriter@gmail.com. My phone number is 9810386842. I have a website which is called thedusra.net, and I also have a talk show. It's called The Weekly Show with Aditya. It's available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. So anyone has any other questions?
18 minutes are up.
All right, time is up. So we have a couple of minutes before we go to the next part. So anyone has any other questions? I'll stop sharing.
Yes, Aditya, my question would be, so if I have to review something, what are certain pitfalls that I have to be careful of?
Can you get the question again, Abu?
Sure. So if I have to write a review for be it a book or a movie, what are some common pitfalls that I have to be careful of?
The most important is you have to see.
What are certain things that I need to take care of?
All right. So I'll give you through an example. I'll show you through an example that how I reviewed a certain movie, and you will get an idea. So this is my movie. How many saw the movie Logan, which came in 2017? So pitfalls, Abu, as I explained, that it's all about making sure that you don't reveal too much, yet what your interpretation should be out there. If you felt that the movie had excellent, let's say, CGI, the characters were shown in a light which is very different from the first time they came. Let's take the example of the character of Iron Man, how he was in his first solo movie, his relationship with Captain America, how they had their ego clashes. If you remember, there was a subtle ego clash between Captain America and Iron Man throughout the franchises. It was not visible, it was subtle. So you have to understand this, how it was there. So I think my time is over for the presentation. So Abu, shall we move on to, should we continue with the
20 minutes
questions?
are up.
Right. Abu, should I continue with the answer? So as I said, you have to understand that even in a book, there are, let's take the example of David Baldacci. He has created a couple of characters who have had 3-4 books in the name. You have Amos Decker. There's one character of Amos Decker. He's created a character of John Puller. He's created one more character. So how each book is also giving an idea about the previous book. So you have to connect the previous book to the current book. At what you understood in that book, how you think the character has grown. How do you think he was laconic, he didn't speak much, but how his relationships changed over the course of time. So this is what you have to keep in mind. It means you have to read a lot. You don't see one franchise of the movie. If there are more movies of the same kind, you read all 10 Harry Potter books, or you see all movies. Then you let's say compare first and the last, how they grew, how the character of Snape was revealed slowly, how nobody liked Snape in the first movie. By the time the 6th movie came, and by the time slowly the plot is revealed about Snape, how he started liking Snape. So this is how you have to understand these things. So Amrit, you have any questions? No?
No, I'm just a Potterhead, so I always smile with your Harry Potter.
I got your point. Anyone else with questions?
So, Aditya, can you take top 3 or top 5 things to follow when we write a review? Like top 5 points we need to think.
What I find is your listening skill should be good, because eventually you're going to come back to your home, right? So you have to remember the scenes, and you may have to remember what you saw in the movie before that. So your listening skills, the analytical skills, and then your understanding of the movie settings, the camera positioning. If it's a fast camera positioning, if the character is shown from the point of view of the camera, if it's a mockumentary. You understand, mockumentary is form of documentary where the camera is the characters are speaking to the camera. Like you have the TV show The Office, where the characters speak into the camera but they're speaking to us indirectly. So you have to understand these subtle movie jargons, which takes time, but you do get it over time. It's not.
Any few good movie reviewer you read for, like any in India or
There
Hollywood?
are a couple of them. Means I read them, then I write my own interpretation. I read what they have to say, then I write my own thing, and then I compare that. Where are we different? Because it's a personal thing. All the 18 participants in this room will have a different interpretation of the same movie. They may not even agree with each other. That is fine, because it is personal. It could be biased. You may not totally say the movie is bad. It's fine. Amrit may say Harry Potter movies are beyond childish, beyond magic. Somebody else may say they're only magic, only kids. So that's an interpretation, which is how you have been, how how you work, how it works. Somebody may like romance movies. Somebody may not like them. So it's those things. But even if you're saying the movie is not good, you have to say in such a way that it doesn't. You have to understand that the movie is also made after a lot of effort. It takes more than 1,000 people involved to make 1 2-hour movie. It takes 3 months to make a 2-hour movie. So you have to understand from the point of view of the writer, the director, how much work they have put in. So those things you have to understand for completely being negative. It has to be done in a very subtle manner. Even if you don't like it, it has to be subtle. Like it's the same like evaluations we have in Toastmasters. Even if you have recommendations, you have commendations. So you have commendations about the movie, yet what could the movie improve upon? So it has to be taken in terms of like an evaluation. You can get your experience from your evaluation you have done in Toastmasters. That will be very useful. You will know the technical terms over a period of time. The setting, the mise-en-scene, the lightings, why a dark lighting, why for example, in thrillers, it's always dark. Always the door creaks. Why? Because that creates the scene for the thriller. Why in romance it's always beaches, always bright colors? Why let's say in a movie which is full of gory, the blood is dripping from the knife. So you have to understand that. You have to understand the color palette. But it takes time, but you do understand it. The more you watch, you don't have.
Thank you so much, Aditya. Now, people. Yep. Please go ahead.
Can I ask a question? Do we have time?
Yes. Yes. Please go ahead, Parul.
So, Aditya, is there a proportion of how much you should be talking about the story and how much you should be talking about the acting and the direction, or it's just completely upon you? Maybe I want to just in my review, I just want to talk about the story, or in a particular review, I just want to talk about the acting or the direction. Is it necessary that I do?
You have to. I'll answer before we'll read and you'll understand it. If all the parts are equally important, that the acting, the characters involved, the characters' growth, and the settings of the movie, these are things which it will develop over. Just hold on.
Yeah.
So let's do one thing. Let's read a couple of reviews from my book, and then you can give your interpretation, what was your interpretation of the same movie, and then we can have you can give a small there's a 40 second interpretation. You can give your interpretation. So I'll read from my book. We'll have a reading. Is it fine, Param?
Yes, yes. You can start. Then we will ask people to give your name on chats, and we will now open our volunteer for reading.
So we'll start with this. So this is my review of the movie Logan. How many have seen this movie? Show your hands.
You can answer in the chat also. If you can't raise the hand, you can answer in the chat. If you yes or no, if you haven't, okay. Vimanyu has.
All right. Vimanyu, would you like to start reading?
Okay, sure. Logan, the human being. Logan is not the quintessential X-Men action-packed flick, but about relationships and development of characters, which makes the movie phenomenal, fantastic, and a fleeting tribute to the characters of Charles and Logan. It might feel sluggish, but that is exactly what the makers were looking for. Character development and emotional empowerment in one Oscar-worthy performance by Hugh Jackman. There are no flashbacks, no reminiscences from past lives. This movie is an effort to get away from that part of his life for Logan. In the initial part of the movie, Logan tries to be normal, veering away from his Wolverine alter ego. He is an ordinary citizen earning his livelihood as a cab driver, helping his former mentor and the now ailing Charles. Logan and Charles, now old and weakened, live on the outskirts of the city. While the entire focus was to be on Logan, Charles, who is no more the Professor X, persuading people to join the good side, plays the ideal supporting role. Should I continue?
Yeah, it's a couple of just one more page.
This wasn't about X-Men or their missions and their alter egos, but the characters actually being themselves. The writers, directors have done well not to have any connection with the past experiences or regrets. Logan became Wolverine as a part of a secret project. His body lined with metal made him immune to bullets and the power to self-heal. The appearance of Laura is a mystery, which changes the plot. She looks for a safe haven, the Eden, with her friends, who is later revealed to be Logan's daughter. There are instances where Logan dispels the X-Men as no more than selfish and mythical characters. This movie is all about emotions, is character-driven, and relationships, especially between Laura and Logan, is explored intimately. Logan's usual stoic self melts when he sees the video about children being transformed into mutants. The violence in the movie is muffled and comes only when called for, helps the story to propel at the right points, but is secondary to all other aspects in the film. Yes, the Wolverine hacks, claws with heads, are ripped off, with the guts flying all over. Charles' death is emotional, indicating Stewart's parting with the series. Logan sheds tears on losing his mentor. The final act of the movie is where all comes together. Laura and her friends take care of Logan, who continues to fight, bringing out the most aggressive self when fending off the enemy. It is a fitting eulogy to a character who was not a conventional superhero. Logan never really felt a part of the X-Men, but continued his journey with them nevertheless. He never shed tears.
We'll give somebody else a chance. So quickly give your interpretation.
Yeah. So basically, my interpretation from the this chapter, that is the third chapter about the movie Logan, is I think it is very similar to my interpretation, because that was the movie which I really loved, and that was totally apart from the X-Men series. Is that you have perfectly highlighted that this movie tried to just bring out the self, tried to bring the normal self, and trying to bring the original stuff what the Logan is all about. What like in the case of our Logan, the character Logan, he was always shown in the all past series that he was a tough guy. He was never a normal human being. He was never tried to even join the X-Men series, but he was he was not just in the normal form. But now in this latest movie, the directors and the writers wanted to bring out the original stuff, like the emotional part of that character.
Sorry to interrupt, but 30 seconds are over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's.
So who want to volunteer for reading? Anybody can give your name on chats. Anybody wants to volunteer for reading? Amrit wants to read. Aditya, you can open one of your reviews.
this is a
Amrit,
chapter
you
can
can
read.
start reading then.
Yes.
Digital English, this one?
Yeah.
Digital English. Johnny English is called upon to save the world when all the other options are literally and metaphorically exhausted. London has been subject to a vicious cyber attack. The identities of several agents have been exposed. English, through his indomitable hunch, along with his trusted aide and fellow spy, exposes the mastermind behind the attack. English is the old school spy pitted against the world of smartphones and virtual reality. He trusts his gut feeling and classical spy skills over any technology. He masquerades as a school teacher, scouting for young talent, tutoring them in the art of sophistication and so on. The Aston Martin returns as his trusted steed. Similar to the plot of the previous franchises, through a series of goof-ups and good fortune, he emerges on the top.
So, have you watched the movie?
No, but now after reading the review, I'm like, oh, I should catch Johnny English. I only think I had seen snatches of the movie, yeah, on HBO or
It was
Star
part
World.
three
But
of the franchise. But most of the plots are similar in a lot of ways. You should watch. You'll have. This is by the same actor who played Mr. Bean for a long time.
So that's why I remember him because he's imprinted at Mr. Bean and the Aston Martin car. That's why I remember I've seen snatches of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
Anyone else would like to?
Okay. So please share your name for reading. Aditya will show you the screen.
This is Sherman. I want to read.
Sherman wants to read.
Sherman, you can read this one.
Yeah, The Chosen One. Zachary Levi, known for his performance of the spy Chuck, returns with a humorous take on superheroes. Vigilantism and evil, and not the usual wound of hero-villain relationship. The story revolves around the theme of good and evil, and taking on bullies in one's life. The theme of 7 deadly sins is woven in the character and personified through ugly-looking creatures who have corrupted the minds of antagonists. And superhero moves were created to show one's alter ego, ordinary humans turning into masked and physically powerful beings who take on corrupted individuals with the aim of dominating the world. These super beings have the familiar story of being orphanage, Batman with brackets, for others who are good like beings in their verse landing in alien land where they are forced to blend with the natives, Superman, Supergirl, Thor and Wonder Woman. The Indian movie Shanisha has a similar story line of a police detective who feigns corruption during the day. He quietly observes the nexus between business tycoons and politicians who find it convenient to bribe the detective, and at night assumes the role of physically intimidating individual in disguise, just like any other vigilante who is omnipotent and omniscient, bringing justice to those who terrorize the masses.
All right, Sherman, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone Sherman, you can summarize. Sherman, you can summarize what you have read
for understanding
in 30 seconds.
Param, unmute him, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a movie person, and also not seen a lot of movies. And
Someone, can you say loudly, bit loudly?
Yeah, I'm not a movie fan, and also I have not read books like this. So it's better to someone to give this chance to explain.
And anyone else would like to read now?
Anyone like to read? Please share your name on the chat or you can unmute yourself. Latif, would you like to read? Latif, would you like to read?
Sure, I will, sir.
Yeah, thanks. So, Aditya, can you please share one of your small chapters?
Most of them are a little longer.
No problem. We can read 2 pages. We can read 2 pages and then that person can summarize.
All right, so let's start with this one.
Right.
Esoteric and science come together, till thrill and with cunning of a self-conceit, his waxen wings did mount above his reach, and melting heavens conspired his overthrow. Avengers Endgame lived up to the hype that had been building up over the last 12 months and was not disappointing. It has been closely contested by Game of Thrones Season 8, and both armed with a great script and adrenaline-fueled CGI, the emotions associated with the respective characters came out in the right proportions. The sorcery of Doctor Strange, the scientific powerness of Banner and Stark come together to face their mightiest foe in Thanos. Thanos invokes the characteristics of Sauron, Joker, Lex Luthor, Ravan, and Magneto. Sorcery, intimation being sadistic and a blind quest for power. He also quite astutely represented above mentioned aspirations which the protagonists are unable to display due to their mission to work for the protection of humanity.
Can you summarize here?
I'm sorry, boss. No.
No problem. No problem.
No issues.
No problem. Anyone else want to read? Anyone else want to read? Mansi, would you like to read?
Oh, not that.
Vignesh wants to read. So, Aditya, can you share 2 pages of your chapter?
Yes, hold on.
Just share 2 pages of any chapter you like.
Just see.
Yeah. Okay.
Use something which is.
No problem, Aditya. You can share 2 chapters, any 2 chapters. That would be their purpose is to read together. That's it.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's okay. Let's read this one.
Right.
Vignesh.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. A Martian, bring him home. Mark Watney. They say once you grow crops somewhere, you have officially colonized it. So technically, I colonized Mars. In your face, Neil Armstrong. So in the face of extreme adversity, elements of humor and wit are experienced with some practical knowledge of space travel along with its physics and engineering. The movie is based on a novel by Andy Weir and scientific observations provided by NASA which helped the crew.
And this starts from here, which helps the crew understand
the psychologies of space travel and prepare for their character accordingly. NASA was also a consultant for the aspects of space and space travel, specifically Mars. In terms of fiction, it is an insight to the manned mission to Mars. Over the years, NASA's rover and Pathfinder explored the Red Planet along with ISRO's Mangalyaan. This was an attempt to explore other planets when there was nothing left on Earth. Let's not compare this particular sci-fi to legends like Gravity and Interstellar. All 3 have different plots, different characters, and different thoughts.
You can give your interpretation.
Oh yes, it's been given about NASA and what they did and how they went on to find new planets and how did they explore it and got to know about other planets. But it cannot be compared with movies like Interstellar and Gravity, where it's science fiction, but so those are different stories and they are completely different from this. So you just can't compare this and that, and it cannot be comparable. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Anyone
much.
else would like to
So
add?
today's last speaker, last reader. Anyone who wants to be the last reader for today?
Yes.
Risha Kar, would you like to read?
Yeah, why not? Sure.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Even Batman needs his butler. What do Bruce Wayne, Tony Stark, and Oliver Queen have in common? They are millionaire playboys turned vigilante trying to find injustice in their respective cities. Bruce Wayne, the Dark Knight, Tony Stark, Iron Man, and Oliver Queen, Arrow, born with the silver spoon, witness some incident in their lives which totally changes their worldview. They have the technology to aid their crusade, leading the double life of
Sorry.
Leading the double life of Vigilant versus Playboy is to their advantage as they keep in contact with the top police officials, which of course is taken in a different context by the people who are unaware of their second life. Oliver Queen, the Arrow. Oliver Queen enjoys his father's wealth. The owner of Queen Consolidations is a playboy with many girlfriends and shows no interest in his father's company. He goes on a yacht with his friend and his father, but the event that succeeded this trip is the watershed moment for him.
So can you give your interpretation?
The movie seems very interesting because there are two stark different lives of three characters here, and the review also tells us it has given a little background about every character. I think eventually because we start with one of the characters, so
Yeah.
this is also going to give us an overview about the background of the movie, the setup, and the characters a little. So I think this shall develop interest in the readers to go and give it a watch.
All right.
So
Thank
I
you.
found it interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. So thank you everyone. So
thank you everyone.
Anyone would like to add their those who have read and those who would like to give their feedback?
Right. Abu, you can come on the video and you can start now. You can stop your screen.
Sure. Thank you so much, Aditya, for that wonderful read. Now, people, we would like to go and do something different. Now, it is very important. Once you learn a trait, till that time you don't practice that trait, it's very difficult to understand if you have learned the trait. So we have got 5 minutes right now. What we will also do is we'll take this 5 minutes to write a review of any of your favorite book or any of your favorite movies. Once you have done that, we have already requested Aditya that he will go ahead and share feedback on your review. So please feel free. You have got 5 minutes. In the meantime, you have also the voting section where you have got people who have read and who have shared the gist. We would request you to go ahead and vote for the best reader. So please go ahead. You have got 5 minutes, okay? And you can go ahead and review, and Aditya will go ahead and share his feedback. In the meantime, it is also open for question and answers. So if you have got any other questions as to how to become a great reviewer, this is the best time to ask Aditya for that question. Okay, so please check. Param has been kind enough to share the list. So please go ahead and vote. And you can also go ahead and ask questions to Aditya. Aditya, all over to you.
Yeah.
I have a question here. So I don't watch movies, basically a lot of movies, I don't watch them. But I am a very, avid reader. So I read a lot of books and I follow a lot of pages on Instagram in which readers actually review the books. But I just cannot do it. Like I tried it a lot of times and I just don't know how to start, how to begin with. Like I have heard you saying that we have to follow the CRC approach and we have to read a lot of, like if we talk about the movies, we have to watch a lot of movies to understand how thriller works, how romance works, and how all of these things works to compare the first and the second, and then, come up with something. But what do we do in the case of books? Like, I just don't know how to do it.
Review books. Well, book review is something which is a little different from movie reviews because there also and you have to read the book 2 or 3 times to understand the plot. In the first go, you never understand anything. You have to
So
even
is it with the movies also? Like, we have to watch the movies over and over again to understand? Like, initially,
it depends. For me, all these reviews were in one go.
if I want to review a movie, so I have to watch the movie twice or thrice to understand.
That's on you. That's on you. If that's on totally on you. If you think you can get it in one go, that works. This I got it in one go. It took some time. I had to recall the movie first, and then this is completely my thing. So,
Like, is there some, a skeleton which we can follow and we can fit in the words? Like, if we talk about the Toastmasters, if we talk about a general speech.
well, there is one website, IMDb.
Yeah, I know.
So there are some. There is some information about the movie given over there. There is some kind of trivia. You can read through that also. You will get an idea. And how you can then from that is just 1%. You don't write that directly. You take, for example, you like a dialogue from the character which you want to include in the starting, but you don't remember it. You know what the dialogue is. Where is it? How it is fitting together? Does this thing fit together? Then you go over there or just go to that IMDb site, go through the, let's say, the other reviews over there, read other reviews also, it's fine. You can go through other reviews, understand it, and then write in your own words. It will take time, it may not happen immediately, it may happen over a period of 2 days, it depends. Your speed has, if you're writing for the first time, for me also, it took time to understand. My reviews, it changed over time.
Thank you.
It's all about starting slowly. It's a slow start to all this. Anyone else? Would like to have any questions? Okay, you're writing your movie reviews?
I have a little question, Sudisha here.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that do you ever get influenced by other movie reviewers? And like, do you try to avoid reading any before, or like how to keep it very original? Because if I start, maybe I'll read a lot of movie reviews and usually get influenced by their opinions maybe. So how to,
There is no harm in
stick
reading
to
because
myself and keep it original?
you can read their reviews. You read 2-3 reviews, what they have to say, because everybody will have a different interpretation of the same movie or the TV show, and then you write your own thing. Okay, they have written that this, everybody writes from a different point of view. You have read my reviews, they're probably not the kind of review you would have read most of the time. They're different. So how did I develop this was that after watching the movie, I would start collating the ideas in my mind. When I was going back home, I would start writing bullet points on your computer, on the computer, and then slowly it develops. If you have seen enough movies, like I compared this movie Shazam to Harry Potter, for example, the chosen one which you read, I compared it to Harry Potter. You may think there is no connection, but it's about how you find a connection.
You also mentioned Shahenshah somewhere.
Yes, because he's very similar to that character.
Yeah.
Right? So it's all about knowing where you can fit that in. Is it fitting in with the theme of the movie? You can fit that in, it works. But for that you have to, it's a recall thing. I may have watched Shahenshah 10 years ago, but I remember the plot. That this is what the plot was. He was a vigilante and also, for example, feigning corruption, which we all understand. But how did I compare one character of a totally different Indian movie to a movie of some other genre? It's all about your experience. It comes with time.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else with questions?
Abu, can you check your personal chat?
Yep, sure. Great, people. Thank you so much, Aditya. I suppose, people, if you have any more questions, please feel free to drop in your question. Apart from that, please, you have got Aditya's number as well. I would strongly encourage people to go ahead and give a review. Again, let's ensure that, it's always the most difficult step is always the first step. So I'm sure we are good at whatever we do. We just have to take the first step. Let's take the first step. Let's go ahead and write a full-on review. And let's go ahead and give it to one of the experts like Aditya. Let him review. And I'm sure from there we can always start our journey. Okay. So thank you so much, Aditya. Param, would you like to share the results as well?
I shared with you on the personal window.
On my personal window. Great, people.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Aditya, I'm going to share the results. We are trying to make it, we are trying to create suspense. I would want you to go ahead and, Param, can you forward the names of the speakers, best reader to Aditya as well? Let him make that announcement.
Sure, Abu, sure.
Thank you so much. We are just trying to create as much hype and secrecy as possible.
I request everybody to please come on video.
So we have a tie. The best speaker goes to Vimanyu and Sudisha. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job.
Vimanyu and Sudisha, please give your feedback of reading that portion. What was your understanding of reading that portion, apart from the interpretations we had?
Okay, let Vimanyu speak first.
No, Sudisha, you go first.
No, understanding in the sense, what I understood is it's important to give people a background, what they might expect from the movie, and hence help them decide that will it be of their interest or not. Will it be in the preference of the genre that, in the region of the genre that they prefer to watch. And we need to talk about the characters and plots. That is what I understood from the short part that I read.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay. I think I have only 2 points to make. The first is that I have written a lot of book reviews and movie reviews in the past, but I have written it's so lengthy that maybe people don't even read it. So first point is like it should be short. And the second is I have never even tried to connect 2 different movies or 2 different books. So that's the second point, that is like I can connect through my own imagination to connect 2 totally different movies at once. That's my way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. And Vimanyu and Sudesha, you'll be glad to hear that you will now be a social media celebrity. We will ensure with the help of our PR that you get that likes and comments on social media handles, especially LinkedIn. As I understand, Vimanyu, you are a great fan of LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I think I have already attended 5 sessions of yours, so I know this line was going to come.
Now I'll change the line from next episode.
Yeah.
Great. First, people, thank you so much. Can we first clap for Aditya? The show is not over. Can we give a round of applause for Aditya, people? Great. It's always very important to have something that is not conventional. We have been doing something that is conventional. We have something that is unconventional. So thank you, Aditya. You are doing a fantastic job, and we wish you all the best for the book that you have written. Now, people, we want to start something which is a little different. This is something that we have not been doing, Vimanyu, to be precise. We have our keynote speaker, Twinkle Gupta. So Twinkle Gupta is going to be the keynote speaker for our next session. We would want Twinkle Gupta to come, and she has got a very special message for all of us. Twinkle Gupta, with a thunderous applause, please come. The digital platform is all yours.
Thank you so much. This book club is really going to make my days ahead. So guys, I have written a book last year, and the book was Inaya. It is a love story, but it is not a love story, as the tagline says, that it is not just a love story. So for you guys, especially, and I'm just completing it. It will be 1 year to Inaya. So it's a big thing for me that my debut book is almost an year old now. I have made it free on Kindle. So it is available, and you have the 24-hour window. So what you can do is download the Kindle app. You don't need to have the Amazon Prime or anything. You have an Android mobile phone. You can download the Kindle app. You can search for the name Inaya. I will type it in the chat box. And you'll find my name over there, Inaya. This is the name of my book, and I'll also share with you how it looks like. This is how the cover will look like. All right. So I want you guys to read this book because it's a very easy read. Since I made it available on Kindle, people in my contacts have finished reading the book in half a day. So you can see how easy read it is. I want you guys to read this book because the books, with such books, you know, the novels, we have plot twist at any end. So if we are doing the reading in between, I don't know if we will be able to connect with the perspective from which I have written it. So that was the basic point when Abu, you know, contacted me. And we have 24 hours. So just go download the app, download Kindle and start reading. Then I think our, you know, interaction would be more fruitful. Over to you, Abu. That's all from my side.
Thank you so much, Twinkle. Now, people, another very important reason being for the past 7 seasons, we mostly had motivational books, or we had something that is a spiritual book, or something like a book review. But in order to understand a complete novel that is a love story, or it is not a love story, we need to understand that we have to read the complete book as well. And when it is free of cost, trust me, people, being Indians, this is so close to our heart.
Okay. I have actually tried to, you know, pick up certain Indian issues, though it is nowhere mentioned in the book that the girl or the protagonist is from India. I have tried to keep some mysterious places named. Those names are also, don't try to Google the name of the places, you will not find it. People have given me the feedback that you should mention it somewhere, that the names of the places are also fictional. Because they started searching it on Google and they couldn't find it. So it is like, you know, you'll understand. The only point to make it free on Kindle was that you guys will understand what the book is about, because the actual twist is going to take place in the pages as you unfold the story.
Great.
I hope that I'll be seeing these people at least in the next, in my speaking session, so that you guys know, and you can, you know, invite your friends and you can tell your friends to download the book and you can, you know, just read them and then come up and join.
Absolutely, Twinkle. We will ensure that we blow your trumpet on all social media handles. And we have, I take a lot of pride in when it comes to our PR work. We'll definitely.
Yeah, I look at Param and I feel that he's on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty on it.
Always on.
I downloaded the book, so I'm really excited. Abu, please let us know when is the next session.
Next Tuesday.
Okay,
Next Tuesday, same time.
Same time.
Night. Yep.
Okay, this is my first time, so okay, noted. Thank you.
Great people. Yes,
right. Well, just one request. Can you send us, like on message to Abu or me, your link for the book so that we can create a buzz for that?
Yeah, I'll do that.
People can read it for one day. We will start doing that. So you can share that with Abu, and we can help you out with that.
You can download it within 24 hours, and you can keep on reading it before 26 May. So the downloading process has to be done within 24 hours.
Right.
Tomorrow, like 12 in the night. So I'll just ping Abu the link. That will be good enough.
Sure.
Abu, you can continue, please.
Yep. And I'll become the link man. Great people. We have already exceeded by 4 minutes. So yes, what I will do is I'll go ahead and I'll forward. I would request all of you to please go ahead and download. I thank you, all of you, from the bottom of our heart. Thank you once again, keynote speaker Aditya. Thank you so much, Paramjot. Thank you, Samrit. Thank you, Twinkle. Thank you, all the members. Thank you, people coming from Kuwait, Sri Lanka, for being a part of it. We will also go ahead and we'll add you in our respective WhatsApp group, and we would really appreciate honest and candid feedback. Thank you once again, people. Everything is incomplete without your support. Okay. Thank you so much. We'll see you next Tuesday, and you already know it is Twinkle Twinkle, not Little Star, but Big Star this time. It's Twinkle Gupta. Okay. Bye-bye, people.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Param.
Thanks, Aditya.
How was the session?
It was nice. It was nice.
So do I need to share the link of the book on the...
You can share that.
I'll share it. And so I'll see you on Saturday.
Sure, bhai. Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Saturday को 6 बजे.
I'm just ending the meeting.
All right.